Hey everybody, welcome to the FlyPaper Daily Lightning Talk. My name is Dan Stevenson. I'm with FlyPaper Technologies. I'm one of the people behind a new product that we are releasing this week called FlyPaper Daily, a superintendent daily reporting tool. Before we get into all the details about FlyPaper Daily itself, I think it's important to spend just a moment talking about what are the problems in superintendent daily reporting as a subject. Not just So, a couple things. A lot of times, superintendent daily reports can result in being error prone, and this most commonly happens in the form of superintendent dailies being handwritten, which surprisingly is very common. It's there's a number of groups within large general contracting firms that actually still use pen and paper and have not elected to use software. And for some of those, software is something that they end up evolving to. It could be just Excel documents, or even homegrown web forms, or just simple web forms that they've made to just grab all that information from some subcontractors on a project. But even still, in this scenario, it can be very difficult to coordinate information between the different groups. Not always do you have some ability to see what is going on in the project, or another member of the team having some visibility, and also even disseminating that information between these parties can be difficult. One big point here is that from handwritten documents, especially, and sometimes with the limitations of what people can create with their web forms, it can be really difficult to generate cohesive reports. Yes, with Excel documents, you have some flexibility there. That's certainly true. So there are all of these other solutions, and of course, we can't forget that there are definitely a few software-based solutions that exist for superintendent daily tools, and so that might raise the question of well, why would we make one? And I think that where our real thoughts came from is we just really felt like a number of these tools were really just expanding on the already existing problem, making it prettier, better looking, certainly more useful, absolutely better, and more accessible, true, but maybe not always taking advantage of some of the more modern philosophies of software design, modern philosophies surrounding how people interact with applications and how they like to interact with each other when they're using applications. And that right there is a real big reason why we decided to move forward with creating our own superintendent tool. So this whole ability for people to work with one another while doing superintendent dailies, this is a big part of what FlyPaper Daily is. And so this first section here, I'm going to talk about collaboration, transparency, and openness, and just sort of begin to introduce some of these concepts, and I will continue to reintroduce some of them as I show you guys some other examples. So one key thing that you're going to see here is that FlyPaper Daily is something that is open to everyone, meaning everyone who's a part of the project has access to see what everyone else is doing. This is a big difference between a lot of the more traditional methods of creating superintendent dailies, and even a number of the software tools that are out there also do not subscribe to this particular philosophy. And this right here was a big difference for us. We wanted people to have visibility. We wanted a project team member to have access and see what a superintendent was doing, a design team member to be able to see the same, and at any point in time be able to generate a report on what's going on throughout the day, everyone being able to see everything fully transparent. It's very important that on top of keeping things open, that the ability to input work logs, actually just add information to the daily, be completely easy to use, seamless, simple. And we do make it simple. We make it simple in a few ways. One, we really make major strides at making sure that our user interface is as self-explanatory as possible. It's easy to navigate. And we also want to make sure that you can access FlyPaper Daily from multiple devices. So we do support mobile. We currently support iPad and iPhone, as well as web. And so creating a work log is as simple as pulling your iPhone out of your pocket and creating a work log. Or it's as simple as going back to the trailer and adding some work logs at the end of the day. Also, because work logs sort of oftentimes can be similar to each other for a particular subcontractor throughout the week, it's likely that you will want to roll over data from the previous day. So maybe the crew size is the same, the hours is slightly different, but they're still working on the same project. So rather than rewrite all that every day, it's cool to be able to just click a rollover button and roll over data from the previous day. You, of course, get an opportunity to make some edits to it, but this should make things a lot easier when it comes to creating recurring work logs. Third-party connections is a story that we are continuing to expand on, and it also really builds into our whole kind of open philosophy about our software. Third-party connections for us center around the idea that a project has the ability to export information from FlyPaper Daily to a third-party application. So right now, this means that daily reports and all the attachments that daily reports have associated with them can absolutely be pushed to a Procore Drive folder, a Autodesk BIM 360 Docs folder, a Google Cloud folder, or even a Box folder. And so you can configure it to actually export all the information each day when reports are being generated and send them directly to these locations. The future for the future, we envision the ability to actually send data directly through our API to a third party's API. And that's something that we're actually working on. So this really, again, promotes our kind of an openness aspect, because we really want to make sure that people can comfortably use FlyPaper Daily, but also if they need to use their existing tools, they will integrate with it. Conversations around work logs is an interesting thing for us as well, because again, going back to the collaboration piece, is people need to be able to talk to each other, and so we have this idea where a conversation can take place around a particular work log. So, say someone creates a work log, they've got a bunch of information going on about it, different things that are being done throughout the day, and throughout the day, maybe people have some questions about it, or maybe you wanted to add a little more insight, or just in general, perhaps needed a bit more insight. Conversations are a way for you to track that dialogue as it relates to a work log. And you're tracking it not just in the software, but what we'll also do is when you see the final report at the end of the day, or whenever you generate your report, you will see all the conversations that are associated to any work log that's in that report. We have this concept of notes, and notes are another way to input information into a report, but it's not directly tied to like a crew. So work logs are really more centered around a crew, what that crew is doing, the size of that crew, the duration of time that crew is there. Notes center really more around like observations, or just maybe bulletins that people want to share in the report. And we make that possible with notes. Notes is very much like work logs in the sense that you can add tags to it, you can input a description, you can of course add attachments to it, but one thing that's unique about it is you are able to mark them internal or external. And what this means is you can say, this is a note for just people inside of my company. It's not going to end up on a report. But if I mark it as external, this is a note that I would like to be broadly viewable in the app as well as made available in the report. So with all this is great, but at the end of the day, it's really all about that data, isn't it? And it's about being able to see the results of what has happened throughout a day, throughout a week, throughout a month. And reporting is how we give that to you. We have a couple different ways that we do it, but we do it as simply as possible. You have a download button right there on FlyPaper Daily. That download button kind of gives you some quick reports. Quickly download a daily, a weekly, a monthly. We also have this report generator that's going to allow you to add slightly more sophisticated reports. So now you can pick what number of projects do you want to generate a report for, what companies within that project specifically. Maybe you only want to see data about a particular subcontractor or group of subcontractors. And you also can select different report types. So more sophisticated report generation there. But Again, most people actually are just going to use that download button. They just click it, click download. And if you notice, you also have the ability to download all the data as a JSON object or as a CSV file. That is really cool as well, because what that lets you do is wherever our reporting capabilities might be limited in terms of some of the features you're looking for, maybe some particular metric that we're not doing yet, you can export that information and you can put it into Excel or Power BI, and you can create some very interesting reports and of your own. So that brings us to the end. Just to recap, FlyPaper Daily is a easy to use cross-platform superintendent daily reporting tool, and we really hope that everybody gets a chance to check it out. We're really excited about it, and right now I'd just like to open it up for anyone who has any questions.